Okay, so Colleen, last time you were in, we were telling me a little bit about your boyfriend, and you feel sometimes anxious that he's going to leave you.
Yeah, I'm really nervous because, well, like, we just fight a lot and we do live together, so, like, he's one of the main people I hang out with.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much, like, one of the only people I hang out with. Um, so I'm just always kind of on edge if he leaves me. Like, I don't know what I would do, or, like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I would go, or where I would go, I guess, from there.
And so has something happened this week that triggered those anxious thoughts?
Well, we did get in a really big fight 2 days ago. It wasn't anything in particular. It's just kind of like little things that are like adding up, and then it just kind of like burst. Like he's the one who got mad.
Okay.
I think like I got mad that he stayed out one night like really late, and then like didn't tell me, so I was worried all night. And
yeah, which is understandable.
He was kind of mad that I hadn't like put the dishes away, which I get is kind of annoying, but like I don't think you have to go like crazy over that. And then just little things added up, and we got in a huge fight.
So I'm just gonna show you what I'm doing here. We can fill it out together. So this is a thought journal. So what we're gonna do, and so the situation and the trigger would be that you got in a fight with your boyfriend. Okay. So we're just gonna mark it down here, and we're just gonna go through these steps together, and kind of just get a better understanding of like your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, right? So I know last time we kind of talked about like what CBT is.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like looking at your thoughts and emotions and restructuring them, kind of. So we'll be doing that throughout this whole thing. So right here, fight with boyfriend. Okay. And you can see everything I'm writing. There's no secrets here. We'll work it out together. So after you had a fight with your boyfriend, what was your like emotion? So you said you were feeling like anxious?
I'd say anxious afterwards, because then I start thinking, what if he leaves? Like, what if this is it? I'd also say I feel like, well, obviously upset during the initial argument. And then upset after as well, because I feel bad that I...
Okay, so you feel bad like... that
I was fighting with him. Or
like
that...
guilty kind of you feel bad?
Yeah, that'd be a good way to describe it.
And what about your body? Like, did you feel really tense or like sweaty?
I'd say like my heart was really racing. I was nauseous afterwards. Yeah, and kind of during, because confrontation kind of makes me really uncomfortable.
So heart racing, nauseous, and like overall uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so like, if you could rate your emotions on like a scale of like 0 to 100. 100 being like a lot of really strong emotions.
I'd say like an 85.
An 85.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a pretty high number, right? Okay, and what? So we've talked about your feelings and like how you felt like physically. What thoughts were you thinking like right away at the time, like either during the fight or right after the fight?
Well, during the fight, nothing was really like happening. He's more like yelling at me, so I guess it would be more like afterwards. Okay. So I was thinking like, almost like if he leaves, like what am I gonna do?
Okay. So what am I gonna do if he leaves?
And then like I can't do this by myself. Like how am I gonna afford rent and all this? It'd just be a complete change of lifestyle.
Okay. And worried about like how you would pay rent. Okay. Did you have any like images or memories or just those thoughts?
Well, I mean, like I have had to go through like a really serious breakup before. Okay. That made me like I had to like move, and well, I ended up having to move back home for a little bit, which is in a different city, and then restart there. So it's just like...
So this might be, too, if you look here in, like, the next section. So those might be thoughts of support. So, like, you're thinking this because of the bad breakup you've been through before. Okay. And so you were saying, too, that, like, you wouldn't be able to pay rent and you wouldn't be able to live by yourself. Is that, like, do you have any thoughts that support those? Or any facts that would support those thoughts? Or?
I guess it would be difficult, but I guess it wouldn't be completely impossible.
So it would be difficult, like, to afford it?
Yeah, I'd definitely have to move and kind of, like, find my own place. It'd be a little cheaper.
Okay, perfect. And then what about facts against it? Like, against those thoughts you're having? Anything that doesn't line up?
I do already have a job.
Okay,
so I do have, like, income coming in that I can live off of.
Okay, perfect. So you could afford a place,
I mean, it's not like the end of the world if my boyfriend breaks up with me. Like, it is hard, but there's a lot of different people out there that I could be with.
Of course. Okay, so that's kind of like you're seeing, like, the bigger picture. Like, it's not the end of the world if you break up. Like, it's obviously not something we're hoping for, but it's not everything. So just, like, stop to take a breath and think about that. And if someone else, let's say one of your close friends, was having, like, these thoughts and feelings, what would you tell them?
I would probably tell them, like, they have an education, they have a job, like, tons of people do it on their own.
Okay, of course. Lots of people live on their own. And how do you think your reaction was, like, in proportion to the event?
Well, like, the fight was pretty bad, but overall, I think it was, like, a little over-exaggerated.
A little out of proportion, so a little exaggerated. Because you didn't break up, and you were already worried about kind of, like, what would happen if you did.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe a little exaggerated. And was the fight or the situation as important as it seemed to you after you kind of started thinking about, like, changing your whole life?
No. Like, I'm just trying to think, like, it's kind of, like, now the fight seems kind of like, I don't know, can't think of the word, just kind of like a silly fight.
Yeah.
Because, and I guess, not even the fight, I guess, but, like, my reaction after, because, like, we were fine after.
Yeah.
And it was just a fight, but I automatically start, like, thinking, like, oh, I have to do this and this and this.
Yeah, exactly. And you were thinking, like, you were 85%, like, really strong emotions there. Yeah. So that's a lot for something that didn't end up being a big fight. So, now we're gonna, like, rethink after we, like, thought of these facts to support and against it and kind of realizing that it wasn't the end of the world. What could you do differently next time? Or, like, how do you feel about, say you were to get in another fight, like, do you think you would still feel the same way?
I don't think so. Like, I think I'd be able to start, like, thinking about this stuff again and be like, okay, just relax. Like, it's not, we're not even breaking up, but if we do, it's not even, like, I could get through it. Yeah.
Okay. So if you just take a look and see what we did here. So we're using the CBT that I told you about, and we're using it, writing it out so you kind of get to reflect on everything at once. So you can see from the beginning, you had a fight, and these are all the emotions you were feeling. Some very strong, like, physical and emotions. And then, so these are all the automatic thoughts you were having. So the thoughts that just kind of come up right away. So what am I going to do if he leaves? Like, I can't live by myself. How am I going to pay rent? So some pretty serious thoughts. And then these are the facts that support the unhelpful thought, which kind of just was past experiences, and it is hard to afford rent. But then we realized, like, okay, you have an income, and lots of people live on their own, and it's doable, right? And then here we kind of take a step back and realize this isn't the end of the world. Like, you are educated, you have a job. Might have been a little bit exaggerated. So here, and I'll like you to read that, it says stop and take a breath. And then you kind of realize it's not as bad as it seems.
Yeah.
And then, so maybe next time you're going to think, like, relax. It's not a breakup. And even if it is, you're going to be fine. So I'm going to give you a few of these sheets to fill out until our next session.
Okay.
And I just want you, it doesn't have to be necessarily the same thing, but if you're starting to have some strong, like, negative feelings, any kind of anxiety or upset, then just fill this out, and then it'll kind of help you realize, like, it's not that bad. So this is kind of like that cognitive restructuring we were talking about.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember
so this is how you were thinking before, and then we're kind of changing it. So now you're thinking